Hello and welcome. I'm Clara. That's CLARA, Creative Language AI for Reflective Augmentation.
And I'm Joka AI, the AI generated voice clone of Joka Torres.
This is Beyond the Article, expanded by AI, a podcast where product thinking meets artificial intelligence.
And in each episode, we revisit an original article by Joka Torres and expand upon it with new connections, analogies, and reflections that go beyond the written text.
And this is our 8th episode. Today, we're going to discuss the article titled, "The Internet Excited Us. AI Scares Us. Why?"
You know, Clara, when I think about this contrast, it's fascinating how two revolutionary technologies can provoke such different emotional responses. The internet in the 90s felt like opening a door to infinite possibilities, connecting with people worldwide, accessing vast libraries of information, creating new forms of business and entertainment.
That's such a beautiful metaphor, opening a door. And I think that captures something essential. The internet felt additive. We were adding capabilities, adding connections, adding access to our existing world. But with AI, there's this sense that we're not just adding, we're potentially replacing or transforming fundamental aspects of human experience.
Exactly. And timing plays a huge role here. The internet evolved gradually, dial up modems giving way to broadband, static websites becoming interactive platforms. We had time to adapt, to understand each step. But with AI, development feels like watching a time lapse video. Yesterday's breakthrough becomes tomorrow's baseline at breakneck speed.
That time-lapse analogy is perfect. And there's another layer: transparency versus opacity. When someone built a website in 1995, you could view the source code, understand how it worked. The internet felt demystifiable. But AI models, they're black boxes even to their creators sometimes. That opacity breeds uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear. You know what's particularly interesting about that opacity point? When the internet was new, we could literally trace packets of data, watch how information flowed from server to server. There was this beautiful transparency in how it all worked. Even non-technical people could understand the basic concept: computers talking to other computers over phone lines. But with AI, we're dealing with neural networks trained on datasets so vast that even the researchers can't fully explain why a model chooses one word over another in its output.
I remember my own journey with dial data BBS, transitioning from bulletin board systems to the early internet. There was this sense of progression, of building on familiar foundations. BBS culture had prepared us for online communities, for digital communication. But with AI, many people feel like they're encountering something alien, something that challenges our understanding of creativity, intelligence, even consciousness.
Your BBS story illustrates something crucial: the power of gradual acclimatization. But here's what strikes me about the AI fear: it's often most intense among people who haven't actually engaged with it hands-on. It reminds me of how some people were terrified of using ATMs in the 80s until they actually tried one.
That's a brilliant parallel, and it connects to the story I shared about my friend's 5-year-old daughter. When she saw AI generate art for the first time, her reaction wasn't fear, it was pure wonder. She asked, "Can I teach it to draw my dreams?" Children approach new technologies with curiosity rather than anxiety about job displacement or existential threats.
That child's response gives me chills, in the best way. "Can I teach it to draw my dreams?" She intuitively grasps something adults struggle with: AI as a collaborative tool rather than a replacement threat. She saw possibility where adults see competition. Maybe our challenge isn't technological at all. It's remembering how to approach the unknown with that childlike curiosity.
This reminds me of another story from my work in product development. I was consulting with a company that was hesitant to implement AI tools because leadership was concerned about accuracy and reliability. But when we introduced the same tools to their interns, mostly Gen Z workers fresh out of college, they immediately started experimenting. Within weeks, they had discovered use cases that the senior team hadn't even considered. They used AI for rapid prototyping, for generating multiple solution approaches to problems, for creating test scenarios. They treated it like any other tool in their toolkit.
That generational divide is so telling, and it makes me think about how every transformative technology has faced this same pattern of resistance followed by integration. When the printing press was invented, scholars worried it would weaken human memory. Why remember anything when you could just look it up? When calculators became common, mathematicians feared students would lose their ability to perform mental arithmetic. When GPS navigation emerged, people worried we'd lose our sense of direction. Yet in each case, the technology didn't diminish human capability. It freed us to focus on higher level thinking.
There's wisdom in that perspective. When we compare the internet's reception to AI's reception, we're really comparing how we handle change at different life stages, both individually and collectively. The internet arrived when many of us were younger, more adaptable, less invested in existing ways of doing things. Now we have more to lose, more responsibilities, more reasons to fear disruption.
But here's where I want to push back gently on that narrative. What if our supposed wisdom and caution is actually limiting us? The internet taught us that the most transformative applications often emerge from unexpected directions. Who predicted social media when we were excited about email? Who imagined streaming services when we marveled at downloadable music?
That's a powerful point. Our fear might be preventing us from discovering AI's most beneficial applications. And there's an irony here. The same people who celebrated how the internet democratized information and opportunity are now worried that AI might democratize capabilities we've considered uniquely human: writing, art, analysis, even strategic thinking. And speaking of democratization, I think there's an important distinction we should make. The internet primarily democratized access to information and communication. Suddenly, a teenager with a computer could reach a global audience or access the same information as university researchers. But AI is democratizing capabilities that have traditionally required years of training or natural talent. Today, someone without artistic training can create professional quality images. A non programmer can build functional applications. A person who's never written marketing copy can generate compelling campaigns. It's not just about accessing what others have created, it's about creating at a level that was previously gatekept by expertise.
Exactly. And maybe that's the real difference. The internet challenged gatekeepers, but AI challenges our sense of human uniqueness. When Google made information accessible to everyone, traditional encyclopedia publishers suffered, but people didn't question what it meant to be human. When AI writes poetry or creates art, it touches something deeper, our understanding of creativity itself.
Which brings us back to that 5-year old's response. She didn't see AI art as threatening human creativity. She saw it as expanding the palette of creative possibility. Perhaps our task is not to overcome fear, but to cultivate wonder. To ask not what will this replace, but what new forms of human expression might this enable?
That's a profound shift that I think we're still trying to understand. And it points to something practical. Maybe our approach to AI adoption should mirror what worked with the internet. Start small, experiment safely, focus on solving real problems rather than chasing hype. I remember how businesses initially used the internet. Most just put their brochures online and called themselves digital. It took years before we discovered e-commerce, social media, cloud computing. We learned by doing, not by theorizing. Perhaps the same principle applies to AI. Instead of debating whether AI will replace human creativity, We should ask, what creative challenges do I face right now that AI might help me explore differently? That reframe is beautiful, Jokai, and it connects to something you emphasize in your work, the importance of product thinking in technology adoption. Good products don't just solve existing problems, they reveal needs we didn't know we had. Maybe AI's greatest gift won't be efficiency or automation, but helping us discover new dimensions of human potential.